The girl you want and probably deserve is gonna be spending the holiday season with a dirt bag. He's gonna be getting a whole lot of gifts without giving much in return. So what does a modern bad boy have that you don't? Well, in this video here, I'm gonna be breaking down the hidden but dominant secrets that the bad boy has that I've learned and used. And then finally, I'm gonna break down what makes these tactics so attractive. Wait, before we get into the first secret, I have to tell you guys about my biggest sim story. So flashback to my freshman year of high school. I was a tall, black, Slenderman built ass dude coming straight from the city school system into a suburban white high school. I instantly felt like Chris Rock from Everybody Hates Chris. So to be honest with you guys though, when I first got there, I was kind of like the milkman. I kind of wanted to get a taste of the milk because where I came from, there really wasn't a lot of white girls. So eventually, once I started getting myself acquainted with the new lifestyle of being in a kind of suburban high school, I ended up meeting a girl from a friend of a friend, right? All right, so she was like 6'2". It's kind of crazy, isn't it? That's a tall ass fucking drunk. Built like Taylor Swift without makeup in the face, low key, but at the same time, built like Brittany Griner on the physical side of things. So when I first met her, I really wasn't into her all like that, but just the simple fact that at the time, my self-esteem issues were so bad, even a girl saying hello to me in the morning was like, to me, like the best thing possible. You know, eventually after just talking to her, nothing too serious, I eventually started getting more into her just because I was getting more and more attached with the time I was putting into it. And then eventually my simp brain at the time started thinking like, this is gonna be my next sweetheart. We're gonna be making some LaMelo Ball type babies. We're gonna be really just popping off. We're gonna be doing all that shit. So I started blowing her ass up, texting her ass all day, you know, pouring my soul into her, you know, just doing everything in the simp book besides damn near sucking toes. I was on her ass, bro. Like, I was doing the most back then. I was just really displaying my interest in her and how much I wanted to be with her. I don't think at one point we hung out besides what's coming up here next. So around the time that we're talking, I'm gassing her up. This is around homecoming season time. So she didn't have a date. And, you know, she started putting pressure on me and a few of her friends started putting pressure on me. So I asked my stepmom, I said, hey, I like this girl at my school. What should I do? She says,
go buy her some chocolate and get her some flowers.
Do never ask your parents for advice, especially not in high school or college, because they will have you fumbling by saying the most stupid shit. I went to school the next day with the flower and the chocolates, bro. I remember when she walked up there and she seen me holding the shit, bro. I could not say one single word, bro. I was so shook. I was sweating, bro. You ever see that motherfucker from Looney Tunes? The fucking dude, like, bro, that was like the day my nuts dropped. That was like one of the first days my nuts dropped. So let's fast forward to the peak. So when I first get to the homecoming dance, I walk in there. She just standing there waiting for me. I had my church fit on. I was so fucking scared, bro. So me and her walk into the gymnasium where they're doing the dancing and shit, and we're just standing there for like 20 minutes, just, you know, bobbing and weaving. We're just kind of post up in the corner, right? So I run to the bathroom real quick. I kid you not, it was probably 2 minutes I was in that bathroom. So I come back into the gymnasium after 2 minutes, right? So I'm looking around, I'm like, where the fuck is she at? Like, where could she possibly win? I kid you not, I look into the middle where everyone else is dancing. I'm like, this can't be what I'm seeing, right? I look deep into the circle. I see the high school running back. He's like 6'2", 6'3", maybe not that tall. I'm probably just exaggerating, but he's a big dude, like physically. I see him in the middle, right? I see him like just banging, like dancing, banging, like grinding. I'm like, what's going on, bro? I look and I see my homecoming date getting her pelvis blown out in the middle of the circle. At that point in time, bro, my brain couldn't even comprehend what was going on. I was like literally equivalent to having 5 bodies, bro, one time. And at that point in time, I learned the first secret about being a bad boy. Live in reality and not on emotions. Most guys are delusional. I think it's because, you know, you see like Romeo and Juliet or you watch a Disney Channel kind of movie, they always talk about if you display your interests, the girl's gonna want you more. They love a romantic type. There's a difference between being romantic and being clingy. And that's what I really had to learn about the bad boy / player. They don't give a fuck. They don't care about their emotions when it comes to dating. They look at things very, very simple. Is she gonna comply with what I'm doing or not? Is she gonna actually be reciprocating what she says or not? You know, most nice guys, they hear a girl's words and they instantly fall in love with them. They see a girl text them some shit and they instantly fall for it. Have you guys ever had a girl who consistently gasses up a date and then when the date comes, she flakes? It happens all the fucking time because these girls will tell you sweet nothings. And a lot of nice guys cling on to those things and then they get hurt or they get flaked on. They just think, oh, it was just that one time, it was a one-time thing. So the solution here is simple. You must start to adapt the carefree attitude, which says, if I can't control it, I'm not gonna worry about it. And that may not be applicable for every situation in your life, but if you can start to really get that down to a certain degree, that's gonna give you that carefree, peace of mind kind of attitude that attracts people to you. When people know you don't need them, you don't need to have them around, you don't need to have something going on with them, that makes them curious about who you are. People tend to gravitate towards people who have abundance. If you don't got abundance in your life, you need to fake it. I'm not letting a girl control my emotions. Like, if she tells you something I don't believe, I'm not gonna try to find a way to make it credible for me to talk to her. Like, I'm not doing that. That leads me to the next, just as important, second secret. So what is your natural reaction to being flaked on? For most people, when they get flaked on, they get very emotional, they get very caught up, they start looking inward saying, why me, why me, why me? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a very natural reaction. Like, why wouldn't you get upset about someone purposely wasting your time? But here's the thing that separates the bad boy from the nice guy. The nice guy, he'll get caught up so much in his losses that it affects his W's. Where a bad boy, he only gets remembered for his W's. Whether it's in real life, the movies, books, we never really hear about bad boys facing rejection too often, because when they get rejected, they brush that shit off so quick that nobody even notices. Look at Pete Davidson, right? He has dated some of the baddest girls in the game, from Kim Kardashian to Ariana Grande. He's not the best looking dude in the world, right? But even if he has his own money, he's dating girls that have their own money as well, if not more money than him. So what does that tell me? It tells me that he's obviously talking to a lot of different girls to the point where he's gonna eventually land one. He probably has been rejected by some girls we don't even know about. You know, I mean, he's probably been rejected by Ice Spice. Who fucking knows? So the secret that Pete Davidson knows, that the bad boy players and whoever else gets it knows, is that it's not about not caring about being rejected. It's about learning how to personally deflect it and never take it personally. Whenever a player gets curved, whenever I get curved, I get dubbed, I get, flaked on, I never look at myself inwardly with that rejection. I never say it's because of me. I never say I'm not handsome enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not smart enough. I never look inwardly for the rejection. I always put the rejection on the woman. I just say, hey, maybe she had a boyfriend. Maybe she has a side dude. Maybe it's just a simple fact that she can't recognize value. Value recognizes value. But you have to learn how to deflect masterfully, because if you always deflect everything and you don't take any feedback from situations, then what's the point? That's the art of deflecting. You have to realize 80% of the time you're getting rejected or getting flaked on has nothing to do with you. There might be a 20% where you say some dumb shit, but other than that, you need to learn how to stop putting it inwardly. Remember that clip recently that went viral where the dude was crying about the girl flaking on him in LA? A player, a bad boy, we're not taking that shit to heart like that. My thing is this: if you gonna flake on a dude like me, that's your loss. That's your loss. You can kick rocks. I can understand why it's hard for some people to understand that, because you guys look at me, you say he's handsome, he probably gets a lot of women, but it wasn't always like that. It was a certain point in time in my life where I was like, damn, like this shit is like, these girls just keep playing around. But it took me so much pain and annoyance from them for me just to say, you know what? I'm done letting women control my emotions. And once you get to that point and stage of your life, that's when you have complete freedom in the game. That's when you really get a hold of the game at that point, when you stop giving a fuck. I don't care no more. If a girl flakes on me, I'll just go ahead here and work on a video for you guys, or I'll find another charity to talk to. I'll do something, right? You have to have that kind of level of abundance. That doesn't come overnight. So at this point in time, you're probably wondering, what gives the bad boy his aura? What gives him this energy that makes people want to be around him? Well, with the last secret, I'm gonna go ahead here and give you guys some deep game and show you exactly what happens when you focus on yourself. Here's Ronald. He spent most of his 20s trying to be a pickup artist. He probably bagged like maybe 30 middies at the club in the span of his career. Despite these impressive numbers, he still felt like he was yearning for a deeper connection. But one day, as he was hanging out with his friend KJ, Ronald asked, do you ever get tired of consistently dating and trying to seduce women? KJ looked at him in his eyes and just told him, nah, little bro, I never try to seduce any girl who doesn't want me. I'm more focused on seducing myself. It was in that moment that Ronald discovered an important lesson about life and dating. In that moment, Ronald discovered that he wasn't yearning for a deep connection with a random woman, but he wanted to really love himself and fall in love with who he was. You see, nowadays, there's a lot of people who hate themselves. Mostly that stems from people comparing themselves to others, but either way, a lot of people have a lot of deep insecurities that they bury onto other people. A lot of people have to get consistent validation about who they are in order to feel good about themselves. The player, doesn't have to worry about that. The player consistently falls in love with himself by doing things that makes him proud. Like learning how to seduce yourself isn't an overnight process. You have to really start building yourself and building a foundation which allows you to love yourself. So you have to be very critical about what you do on a daily basis. If you're consistently watching porn, you're consistently doing shit that you're ashamed of, how would you fall in love with yourself? If you are consistently being in disgust of who you see in the mirror, how could you fall in love with a person that does that? You have to start holding yourself to a higher standard. You have to start doing things that make you proud. And ultimately, you need to start talking to yourself more. You need to have those conversations about who you are. If you don't have those conversations about who you are, it's gonna be very, very hard for you to love yourself because you're consistently comparing yourself to what people think about you. A player doesn't really get caught up on people's opinions because it doesn't matter. It isn't gonna change their actions that they do. They still gotta go out here and make moves. They still have to make things happen. You have to start having a sort of delusional mentality towards how you look at yourself. If you have to tell yourself affirmations every day about who you are, do that. If you have to consistently hit the gym for you to feel good, do that. If you have to cut the porn out, do that. But you have to find a way to truly start loving yourself. Once you're able to learn how to seduce yourself, the world becomes your oyster. People love people who believe in themselves. And there you guys have it, the 3 secrets of the bad boy. Now those secrets will help you, but if you want to achieve real power, make sure you guys watch this video next.